This is the KJ Singh Show with your host, KJ Singh. This is now the point of no return. I mean, it was already the point of no return before, but if the international community and especially the US, the UK, our Western governments don't step in, don't put their foot down to stop the onslaught, the genocidal onslaught by Israel on the civilians of Gaza, then we can say goodbye to any international law that protects human rights, and also, for that matter, our domestic laws that protect human rights. Because if they don't matter over there, they don't matter over here. So, in recent days, we saw 7 members of the World Central Kitchen, a humanitarian aid organization dedicated to the most highest of principles, which is to provide food for those who are starving. Before I continue, please watch this video to honor 2 of those people's lives who've been lost in the airstrike on their vehicles.
Hey, this is Zomi and Chapman with the We're at the Jirabala kitchen and we've got the mise en place. Tell us a little bit about it, Chef Ali.
This is the mise en place to cook the rice. So we have all the spices for boil the water to be ready for the boiling water inside the rice. This is the stir fry, which we put oil, we stir fry onions. We have the spices, and after we stir fry the rice, we add the water. The water is aromatized with these spices, this mix of spices. There is the black lemon, there is some chili, there is 7 mixed spices, bay leaf, salt, pepper, and tomato paste.
Indeed, so this is the beautiful, fragrant, aromatic rice that will be served today from Jirabala Kitchen. Thank you.
So as you can tell, that these people are, happy and just, they're operating from principles that, the most, honorable, the most humanitarian people can, dream of doing. In the kind of like the danger that they're in the suffering that they're surrounded in, they've traveled thousands upon thousands of miles from their home countries, whether they're from the United Kingdom, from Poland, from Australia, to provide food for those people who need it the most in Gaza. Now, this airstrike on their vehicle is such a clear example of Israel and its complete disregard for a humanitarian law, but also its very purposeful targeting of those who are providing aid to those in Gaza. For one, of course, remember United Nations, UNRWA, which is basically, it provided the humanitarian kind of infrastructure within Gaza. That was vilified. Their offices were destroyed by Israel because, of course, if there is still an infrastructure in place that provides services to the Gazans, then they cannot clear up the entirety of the Gazan Strip, and they cannot, go on with their ethnic cleansing unimpeached. And so that this reason why a lot of countries around the world, including the US, withdrew their money after allegations of 12 of the 13,000 members. 12 people of the 13,000 members of this organization, which is less than 0.1%, were implicated in the Hamas attacks, which were unproven. It's possible that it's true, but at the same time, Hamas are quite a wide organization. They are an authority but they're not necessarily, not just the militaristic aspects of Gaza, but also the administration, the health, the services that are much needed by everyone, the aid, the hospitals, So I wouldn't be, so quick to believe Israel in its allegations, but also how it vilifies any of its opponents, including, South Africa, and how Israel sees South Africa as the legal arm of Hamas. Come on, give me a break. And it was not a surprise that on the day, the International Court of Justice, which is the 6th organ of the United Nations, It ruled that there's a plausible case for the genocide that is happening right now, and it allowed the case to be resumed, much to the dismay and disapproval of the US and the UK and Israel. So clearly, Israel knows that there are these organizations that provide oversight and act as a third party, a neutral agent that are documenting the crimes that are being committed on the people of Gaza. The UN UNRWA also provided important food and aid to the people who are suffering. This is how World Central Kitchen come into play, because World Central Kitchen were touted as that replacement for UNRWA and provided much needed food and life-saving meals necessary. And of course, as a result of this attack on these 7 aid workers, the World Central Kitchen has disbanded, just as a lot of the services of UNRWA had disbanded. This is the mission objectives of the Israel government that relies on ethnic cleansing and genocide of Gaza in order to pursue its plan of colonial expansion. And so it's not a surprise. This is par for the course. And the evidence is so clear. This is as clear as you can get, because first of all, there was arrangements made between World Central Kitchen in their traveling to and fro from warehouse to providing food and assistance in the tune of tens and hundreds of tons of food meals to people who are suffering. And despite all the knowledge, despite the fact that their vehicles were already marked, were very clearly marked, with their logo, World Central Kitchen, they were targeted in a very precision strike. Now, before I continue, when this situation was new, World Central Kitchen said it was clearly an airstrike. The IOF, or otherwise colloquially known as the Israel Defense Force, said that it was possibly a bomb by Hamas, a side bomb on the road put there by Hamas. Now, according to this picture here, what do you think that it might be? Do you think World Central Kitchen are correct, or it's a side bomb? This pretty much looks like a precision guided missile. It seems like a precise strike. So clearly, Israel are not only wantonly striking these aid workers, but they're also lying about it. And you can also see in the mainstream news and their own media, they are crying crocodile tears. They are trying to give the appearance, the aesthetics of, oh, we're going to be the sensible people. We're going to investigate as to how this happened. This is intentional. This is part of the course. So, because it's all kind of part of their much bigger plan to starve people of Gaza in order for them to pass away under the darkness of our mainstream news. And okay, this is not just the only example. The reason why this is so clear cut is because this is not the only example of people providing aid or starving people being unalived or killed, happening. So, on the 29th of February, we had the first flour massacre. This is when food aid trucks carrying flour in the northern part of Gaza were going from A to B, and you had hundreds of people try and grab some flour. Of course, 118 people on this day died, hundreds of others injured. Now, Israel's account was that it was a stampede that caused them to die, because of course there's a lot of people, and in the chaos of that moment, they died. However, other accounts from the hospital there said that it was actually bullet wounds. And further studies by the Euromed Monitor showed that the bullets that were found on the scene and inside the people who died corresponded to the same bullets that the Israel Defense Force use. So Israel will lie. It's also the kind of like the fact that the mainstream news will just follow their narrative, hook, line, and sinker. It is so undignifying. It's so disgusting. It's so dehumanizing for those people who are at the receiving end of this suffering. It's not just, it's not like people who are fed a pill that makes them kind of pass away in their sleep. No, this is the worst kind of suffering. It's where people's limbs are kind of flown off. People in their most dire moments, in their most starving moments, that these people are targeted. This is such a dehumanization of a people who are essentially not unlike you and I. Therefore, the grace of God go I. In other words, we do not choose where we're born, and any of us could have been born there, could have been suffering in the same way. But this is the mindless racist supremacy of this Israel of this government that's hell-bent. It's acting from its lizard brain limbic system, from the part of the brain that is not interested in the consciousness, the sentience. They don't even have much sentience of their own. They're acting on like unconscious impulses at this point. And it's really sad to see, because these are the people who were killed in this targeted strike of World Central Kitchen. These people were the best of us, just as Aaron Bushnell was best of us, just as Motaz Aziz, and all these journalists who've been killed. Oh yeah, everything that Israel's doing in the name of self-defense. Whilst you see the entire cities, the whole buildings are smashed to pieces, and it just so happens that the vast majority of journalists have been killed too. How do you square that circle? How do you make sense of the insanity of the killing those who are in witness, and also targeting their families too? It's an open and shut case. And like I've said, if we don't have a system that enforces the international rule-based order, then we need a real reformation, not a reformation, a revolution in the way we govern, because this is literally madness. This is toddler level, Neanderthal kind of way of doing morality. It's not. It's might makes right is one thing, and then you have like the people who are supposed to be the moral guardians of our society, of our international community, kind of rooting this on. There's no justification for this. There's no moral principles that the so-called Western powers that were on the right side of history in World War II have anymore. It's almost as if when power is centralized, then it corrupts. Power corrupts absolutely. This is why we need a decentralization of power, but at the same time we need to acknowledge a proper kind of order for establishing human rights, because it's just the roll of the dice that determines where you are born. It's just the roll of the dice that determines what religion you're born into, and all these disgusting new atheists, kind of new liberals who kind of like look down on Muslims. And I'm not Muslim myself, but I think it's disgusting that you see, you don't see them as human beings that have just been born into that religion. Religion is for them, or a lot of people, a sense of community, a place where people can come together. So it's a failure of morality, a wrong-headedness and a complete green light given by the US and the UK, or if not a green light, a complete turning of their head away from what's happening. Justice needs to be served. If not now, then we need to see a complete change in the system. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. That'd be very much appreciated. Thank you.